Welcome to my YouTube channel, Supercar Sunday, and I'm back in the workshop. It is Tuesday evening and I'm on with the SRAD, as you'll probably tell because it's behind me. What we're doing to the SRAD is fitting a slipper clutch. So I wanted to do a video for you just to give you some information that I wanted. I couldn't find it out there, so it's always handy to look at a video, so I thought I'll do a video for YouTube for you guys to find if you want to fit a slipper clutch to your SRAD. So we've got the bike all stripped down. We've got the old clutch off the bike. I'm just going to zoom this out. So obviously this has been removed. Undo the circlip. You'll take this out. Undo the circlip. That comes. This piece here comes out. And behind there is the nut. And it doesn't want to come out because I'm in the middle of doing a video. So it would want to be awkward and not come out, wouldn't it? Anyway, I've got it out now. So that piece is held in there by a circlip. You undo the circlip, take that piece out. In there is the nut. There's a couple of screws in there and all on something. I think it's holding the two sides together. 3 screws, sorry, took them out, but there's a washer, a nut goes in there and bolts it onto here. Anyway, obviously you'll undo that and you'll remove it. So that's done, it's removed, it's out the way. We've got our new slipper clutch kit here. So this is a new slipper clutch kit. Comes like that, with the screws in here. I'll show you them. So it comes with them in there. Now you need to get some clutch springs because obviously we've not got any clutch springs with the clutch off the SRAD. Now the clutch springs you want is Suzuki gsxr 750 K1 to K5 are the best ones to use. I've got some of those coming, so I'm going to get the springs in. But your first stage, so you've got this where it is now. What you want to do is put that on there. Now, what they don't tell you is you need a bigger washer to go in here. So this washer is absolutely no good for going on there. You need a washer that's going to be bigger internally. So let me get this one back off. You need a washer that's going to be bigger than, so see where this lip is here? You need a washer that's going to come wider. So basically I'll just get something to point with, screwdriver, because this is a separate piece to the backing. So the center, this center piece is actually separate to this. So just to clarify again, just so that we've not mixed up anywhere, this piece on here is the backing. This piece is the front bit, part of this, which your plates and everything goes on. And we need a washer that's going to act as a stop. And it needs to come wider, it needs to be a wider washer. It does tell you the size that you need in the instructions to the clutch kit, but you do need to find one of those washers. So you'll have to measure it, take the measurement of the inside diameter, it'll give you the measurement how wide it wants to be. But that's very important, that washer, because basically on the braking, when this separates off this, it stops this basically coming off. It acts as a stop. It actually stops it blowing off and coming out the side of your engine. So it's extremely important. So yes, now look, this doesn't want to go back on. Just wants to be a pain for the video. So we've got that back on. So yeah, once that, I'm at the moment, I'm currently at the point where I'm waiting for that washer coming. I'm going to bolt it on, and then the next stage is going to be building up the clutch plates. And when we put this on, once all the clutch plates are on, we've got this on, we need to measure in these holes here with a gauge, and we need to get a tolerance of 1 mil. So I think we measure it together as it is now with no plates in, and then we need to build it up with the plates until we get in like there's be a 1 mil tolerance. It shows you in the instructions how to do this, but I will show you when I do it. Something else that's important when you're doing this is you need to back your adjustment off for this. So this is your clutch adjustment here. It has a pin that goes right through to the other side. We'll go around to the other side. We've not got much light round here. Let me get a light. So we need to adjust this. You see, there's a pin goes right through there. We're gonna have to clean all that up because it's manky as hell. And that comes through. That pin comes through to here. It goes on there, and we need to adjust it. So you can see you can adjust it in there. You pop that grommet out, and I'm thinking that's how you should adjust it. But I've had a load of bearings drop out of here, if you see, typical. So that's a load of play in that's all knackered, so I'm going to have to get a new one of them. But yeah, so you need to back this right off, and this will need to be readjusted once you've done everything. So I've just had this washer delivered, and this washer obviously goes on there. And it's so that when we've got engine braking, this doesn't basically come off. So I've got that washer on there, and I'm going to put a bit of Loctite on these threads. Put a bit in here. For good measure. So I bought this tool here to hold the clutch while I tighten it up. And that just clamps on there. And we might do a little bit tighter. So I'm just going to whiz this up with a gun. I'm going to finish it off with a bar now, and it wants to be 150 Newton meters. So I managed to tighten the bolt. It was an absolute pain in the backside. Having to hold these at the same time as trying to tighten it with the huge torque wrench. Ideally I wanted to do the settings on this, so apparently you can set the settings on this via your phone so that it'll torque up to exactly what you want it to torque up to, but for some reasons it's just showing settings for undoing bolts, so I couldn't see anywhere where I could program tightening things up. Anyway, I'm new to that tool, so I'll have a look at that another time. I'm just going to knock a bit of this down, this nut down. So I've tightened that up and I went a bit more than 150 Newton meters. The grip slipped and that's how I ended up cutting my blooming hand. So we've got some Loctite on there and I've also knocked some of them tabs down. So we really don't want that coming off. So just whatever I can do extra to stop that coming off. So again, that bolt there, 150 Newton meters. That's what it says in the service manual. So that's what I've done it to, and I've tried to go a little bit more. So I've just banged this clutch together here, and what I've got to do is take some measurements of these holes. So if you can see through them holes, it goes on to the teeth where our clutch plates slide on. And that's what we're going to be measuring. So I've measured round in all of these holes now with the verniers, and I've took average readings right the way around in everyone. So these are my measurements that I've got from each one of those holes. Next, I'm going to build the clutch up. So I'm going to build it up with these new plates, but I'm going to leave out this one. So this is the bigger friction plate, and this is the one that's got the rings on the inside, so there's be a couple of steel rings going there. So that's the ring that's inside that bigger friction plate, so there's only one in here. And what we're going to do in the new clutch kit, we're not going to fit that bigger clutch friction plate. We're going to replace it with a standard size one out of the old pack. So I'm going to strip this back down. So I'm going to assemble this dry with the new clutch kit. I'm going to put a brand new friction plate on first. Then I'm going to put a ring on. So there's different size rings here. You'll have to measure them. The thicker rings want to go on first, and the thinner rings want to go on last towards the outside. So that's a 2mm. Same 1.97, 1.96. But it's a 2mm, it is 2mm. So that can go on first. Then we'll put another friction plate on. That's a 160, so we'll leave that out for now. We've got a 2mm, we'll put that on. Another 160. We've got another 160. And another. This looks like it could be a 2. No, it's a 160. I think these might all be 160s actually. Yeah. So any one of these can go on now. Now I'm going to look for a good fibre plate out of the old clutch. Not that one, because that's the big one. That one looks pretty good. Yeah, that one will do. And that's that. So next we want to be putting our pin in the end. Remember, that's yet to adjust up, so we get this side done first and we adjust the clutch up on the other end last. Now we can put the front back on. Put the springs back in. So the springs I got off eBay, EBC, they were 10% stronger. It says 15% stronger on here. They were supposed to be 10% stronger, they were advertised. Let's hope that these are okay. Ideally you want standard springs, but I couldn't find any standard springs anywhere. They didn't have any in stock at online. I'm trying to think where I normally get them from. Fowler's. They didn't have any in stock at Fowler's. So I'm just going to have a look at it all to check that it's all looking okay. It looks okay. I'm going to wind them in with this. Otherwise we'll be here all day. Now I'm going to take a new measurement through here and see what I've got. And the measurements are pretty much the same, which means we need some thicker plates. Yep, so these measurements are all the same as what we had before, so it means that we need some thicker plates to make this, to pull it forward so we've got the gap. So we're looking for a 1mm gap when we measure this. So I've been through all of these spaces out of the old clutch kit. They're all 160s. I've managed to get 2mm, but to be honest, they're not going to cut it. We're going to need more than that. So what I'm going to have to do is go on the old eBay and have a look and order a couple of these spacers, because we're going to need some thicker spacers. I think they do 2.4s, so maybe a couple of them. I'll have a look anyway, and I'll try and work it out, and we'll see and take it from there. So I've been waiting for these plates to come, and they've finally got delivered. So I ordered these off eBay last Tuesday. It's now Monday morning, and I've only just got them. So it took a while to come. But I'm going to use these, and hopefully I'm going to get the tolerance, get the gap that I need for this to work properly. After reassembling the clutch with the thicker plates, we now had a measurement of 5.63. When subtracting our average measurement of 4.52 from when the clutch basket was assembled with no plates, we now had our gap of 1.11. The gap we're looking for is between 1 to 1.2mm, so we're looking good. Now that we had the gap that we needed, I stripped the clutch back down. I soaked the clutch plates overnight in oil and I reassembled it the following night. I refit the covers to the engine and I adjusted the clutch up with a clutch adjuster. It was now time to see if I'd done everything right. It was safe to say, job well done. I managed to fit the clutch successfully and it worked a treat. No more wheel hop, it was absolutely fantastic. We took a risk fitting the slipper clutch with only a couple of weeks before the Gold Cup. But thankfully everything worked out and Aaron got the points he needed to win the championship. If anyone's looking to fit a Sigma slipper clutch to the bike, I would highly recommend it. Hopefully the video I've made fitting a Sigma slipper clutch to my bike will help someone to fit one to theirs.